We have called the Sunday Roundtable together to order. We're joined this morning by Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh, Republican political analyst Rob Gray. Hey guys, we're in the last weekend of September already.
Good
But
point.
thanks for coming in. You just heard Jake Auchincloss on increasing the number of Supreme Court justices. He basically said, let's not put all our cards on the table until we have to. Senator Ed Markey, however, pounced on this idea earlier in this week before I should say unhappy Joe Biden was ready to play that card. This, of course, is predicated on Democrats winning the White House and the Senate. So did Markey make the right move, Marianne?
Look, the better move for Markey and the Democrats is, why are you still voting on federal judges every week in the month of September who get passed 93-2? Every Democrat should vote against every federal judge until the Supreme Court fight is over. That is the better play. Then win the White House, win the presidency, and then hold Trump and everyone else accountable for every wrong they've committed.
So you're basically saying, let's not talk about a strategy for increasing judges on the Supreme Court, right?
You can talk about it, but there are things we need to be doing right now, like shutting down every federal judge who's being put up for a vote and shutting down the Supreme Court appointment. That's the most important thing. They should be on the floor of the House, of the Senate every day, opposing unanimous consent. Shut down the Senate.
Rob, what's your reaction?
Well, first of all, it's an outrage to suggest packing the court. It's anti-democratic. Second of all, it's a stupid political move by Markey and the Democrats. You don't beat a president with autocratic tendencies by showing the country that you have your own autocratic tendencies and you'll do the exact same thing. Nancy Pelosi suggested maybe she'd impeach Trump if he nominated somebody before the election. I mean, it's just outrageous that they're just basically trying to out-Trump Trump.
There are plenty of plays here. The problem is, for years, Democrats have always brought a knife to a gunfight. It's time to bring a bazooka, okay? That's what has to happen, but there are better ways to do it.
Item 2, former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney returned to his party this week, declaring that he would vote for Trump's Supreme Court nominee, and that's disappointing Democrats everywhere. Rob, let me start with you. Anyone surprised?
I'm not surprised, but it is funny to watch Democrats, veer against the guardrails. They hated Mitt Romney in 2012. He was the evil empire, the enemy. Then when he voted to impeach Trump, he was their hero again, and now he's their dog again. Mitt Romney has actually been fairly independent, a fairly independent voice in the Senate. He criticized Trump this week on his comments about peaceful transfer. So credit Romney on this.
Marianne, what do you think?
Speaking of dogs, let's have a moment of silence for Seamus, could we? Poor guy. Look, Romney's a hypocrite. He always has been. The fact that he was a governor from Massachusetts and now a senator from Utah is pretty much all you need to know. But worse than that, yes, he voted to remove Trump from office during impeachment. And yet now, giving him an opportunity to put a Supreme Court justice on the court who could then install Trump again in the White House for another 4 years. If that's not the definition of hypocrisy and Mitt Romney's name isn't next to it in the dictionary, it should be.
Let's switch to some local politics with Andrea Campbell's formal entrance into the Boston mayoral race this past week. Who's most affected? Would be Michelle Wu or Marty Walsh? Marianne?
First of all, I think I want everyone to think about this race, because for all three candidates, Walsh, Wu, and Campbell, each of them running for mayor is not the hardest thing they've done in their lives. They've tackled much tougher things. So I credit all of them for doing it. But the question here is, first, can Marty Walsh avoid a runoff? If he can, then it's a moot point. If either Wu or Campbell get into the runoff against Walsh, can they consolidate the support the other one had? That's the whole ballgame here, and it's too early to know. Too early to know that.
Rob?
I think Wu has to worry that she won't make the runoff. I mean, Marty Walsh is going to be there if there even is a runoff. Campbell is an impressive candidate. She could certainly beat Wu. I think the question is, will there be any more candidates that splinter off either Wu or Campbell's vote and impact the race? Certainly could happen.
And do you have a thoughtful answer to that, Rob? I know it's early, but do you have a thoughtful answer?
Well, I'm not sure there's going to be a significant candidate, right. But if in a razor-thin race between Wu and Campbell to make the runoff, somebody who gets 3,000-4,000 votes could could make the difference.
I think that most people know this by now, that there's no relation between me and Michelle Wu, but just wanted to put it out there.
Woo, you should throw your hat in the ring. Come on.
No thanks.
Then Marty would really be in danger.
She
at
would
that
win.
point, right?
She would win.
Two woos on the ballot.
That two woos on the ballot. There will now be at least 2 openings on the Boston City Council, but with the ongoing pandemic and face-to-face campaigning and getting volunteers, so essentially these lower profile races, all those components will be near impossible. So Marianne, let me start with you. Will this keep good candidates from running for that because of the fact that we're in a different world, at least for this period of time?
No. And in fact, it should encourage everybody to do it. There are lots of ways to campaign. You can still do events. You can even do door-to-door by matching up phone numbers to doors you're going to knock on, get permission to come by, all those things. The fact is, everyone has taken democracy and politics and running for office not seriously enough all these years, and that's why we're in the mess we're in today. So I expect record number of people to run, record turnouts, and I think a record number of people will run for the council, and they should.
I mean,
Rob,
let's remember
yeah.
the election is not until, it's not for a year, number one. The filing deadline is not until the spring. I hope we're going to be in a different situation next spring
Yeah, let's see if we still have
for
elections.
campaigning.
Yeah.
Fair point by all of that.